some people who come into Parliament who honestly think that they're the masters or mistresses of the universe. They think they can absolutely do anything they want to, and that includes sort of groping, touching up, and all the other business. But the thing is, the reality is that we're now facing a very, very serious situation where public trust and confidence is below zero in politicians at the present time. I have to say, no coincidence, it's since I left Parliament, but that's neither here nor there. And what we're now looking at is things like term limits. We're thinking like central human resources. But interestingly enough, Neil Parish's wife actually worked in his office. And in some cases, having your partner in your office is actually a good thing. Unfortunately, it means that if you want to watch porno, tractor porn, or whatever it is, you have to go and do it in the chamber of the House of Commons. So I'm not sure that's a good thing. But there isn't a sense of entitlement. There's a nasty, sleazy, murky, messy business down there. And it's going to take a lot of work to drain that swamp, to clean those Augean stables.
Do you think that there is a natural gravity towards power and politics and this something other by people who are essentially sexual deviants?
Well, how the hell do you expect me to answer that? I mean, Henry Kissinger famously said that power is an aphrodisiac. I have to say, for certain obvious physical reasons, I've never enjoyed that sense of power or aphrodisiac impact on my colleagues. But there is something about powerful people. But what it's also about is about self-advancement. I mean, when you're in Parliament, you're actually looking at 1,000 greasy poles that people really, really want to clamber up. And one way to do that, there are plenty of people, men and women, who feel that forming a relationship with somebody will actually be a way of advancing their own interests. And believe it or not, and what a surprise, there are people prepared to take advantage of that and imply that if you come and look at tractors with me, or whatever is particularly the fancy of the day, you may well get some advancement. It's stupid, it's nonsense, because everybody knows who's looking after somebody else, but people still do it. It's not unique to Parliament. I would suggest that you get it in the armed forces, you get it in education, you get it in medicine. But in Parliament, we should be held to a slightly higher standard. We're supposed to make the laws, not break the laws, as I think you famously said about a week ago. And above all, we're supposed to set some sort of a standard. Neil Kinnock used to say that MP stood for man of principle. Nowadays, obviously, it stands for person of principle. But really and truly, we should be Caesar's wife on this. We should be pure. And I have to say, and it breaks my heart to say it, but by God, we've let the country down.
Yeah, maybe it's more fitting it stands for man of perversion these days rather than principle. But I did want to ask you this. What role does alcohol play in this? Because, there is a drinking culture, I think it's fair to say, in and around Westminster. And just over the weekend, Business Secretary Kwasi Kwarteng says it would be excessively puritanical for the bars to close the bars to address this problem. But I would suspect that a lot of these things happen under the influence of alcohol, or at least they exacerbate a lot of these sexual acts that go on in Parliament. What should be done about that?
Well, when I came into Parliament in 1997, there were 11 bars. There's about 3 now, and so that particular culture has changed massively. I can remember a policeman saying to me back in 1998, could you come and have a word with person X, who's about to get into his car, and he's quite clearly completely mullered. We can't take his keys off him because he's an MP. You can. Will you do that? So I went up and pushed him down. He fell over, didn't get up again. I took his car keys, hid them, went and put him on the floor of his office and picked him up in the morning. There was a lot of that, and that was pure to do with alcohol. And in many ways, that's actually changed. But there is a certain... Alcohol doesn't just have to be... a stimulant. It can also be a lubricant, a way of talking to people, having contacts with people. And the funny thing is, Mercy, as soon as I got elected, one of the first letters I got is, when can I have a tour of the House of Commons? When can I have tea on the terrace? When can you buy me a drink in the Strangers Bar, in Annie's Bar, and places like that in the old days? Your constituents desperately want to be entertained. And I think it's yet another contradiction in politics. Is the parliamentarian a local constituency representative? Are they representative of their party? Are they a civic dignitary? Or is there a kind of social function there where you are the access point for your constituents who want to say, and they love it, they want to come into the House of Commons, they want to have a Pimm's, whatever it is they want to drink in the Strangers Bar, and talk about it for years after. You get the photographs, souvenir shop. I think that's changed. But one of the significant factors is, of course, today, over half the women MPs, the Labour women MPs, are women. Half Labour MPs are women. And whatever you say, I mean, I know there's one case at the present time of a woman who's been suspended for harassment, but the vast majority of this is, overweight, overage men, just really feeding their oats and just thinking that they're entitled to, just discuss agricultural implements, whatever it is they want to do. So I think having more women in the House is a good thing. And let's not forget, the Speaker's Conference is going to consider everything. It's going to consider term limits. It's going to consider maybe you can only be an MP for 8 years. It's going to consider things like, should you be able to employ your family? Should there be a central, human resource thing? All these things are on the table.
Okay.
It's probably going to be the biggest shake-up of Parliament since 1832.
Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.